Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about, I'm going to give you my thoughts on this. Let me turn this around here. This JBL, if you can see it, 9.1 soundbar. I didn't bring the subwoofer out here. And, we're going to talk about this unit. I'm going to play a little clip of a video I made back in October of 2020, or maybe it might have been November of 2020, on another channel that I had that kind of reviewed and unboxed this video. This soundbar. So check that out for, it's only a couple minutes, I think, or maybe a minute, and then we'll come back and we'll talk what happened with this JBL 9.1 in the end.
Okay, so I just got back from Best Buy. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw this picture that I'm going to show you now. It's somewhere around here, of this JBL Bar 9.1 true wireless surround sound with Dolby Atmos. This is not the same one as that Instagram picture. This is actually the third one of these that I've had to get because the first two were faulty. Something was wrong with, different things were wrong with the other two. So we're going to give JBL one more shot. We're going to take this inside to the garage, and I'm going to show you, I won't do a full review of this, but I'll show you the parts involved in it, and I'll show you what the problem was the other two that I had. So the subwoofer in this is pretty big. It's a 10-inch subwoofer. I'm not going to take the subwoofer out right now because I want to show you the part that I'm talking about that actually failed on the other two. So here's the remote, is in this. Here we have the HDMI cable. These are some mounting brackets for the speakers. Here's the two power cords. So we'll take this out. Soundbar shot. So these are the like the satellite speakers. So one of these, see if I can get this out. It's hard with one hand here. These things clip into the side of the soundbar. There's magnets in them, and it just pulls it right in. You can only do it one way because this is the right side one. So this is the one that failed out of both that I've gotten so far. And you can only put these in one way because it's got a magnet that draws it into the soundbar, and that's how it charges. You can't use it on the other side because it kind of repels when you put it in. So let me get the other speaker out, then I'll get the soundbar out, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here's the soundbar, and you can see how this works. This kind of just pulls it in, and it's strong magnets that hold it in. We'll do the other side, and that's how it charges. This unit has to be off for it to charge, and there should be two red lights that'll come on when I plug it in. So I got to remove the soundbar that I have up there right now. Okay, so we're back from that. You can see just a quick unboxing of what I did. And I'm just going to tell you straight out, don't waste your money on this JBL 9.1 soundbar with subwoofer because it's absolute trash. So I'm going to bring up on the screen right here, and you can see that this was actually the third unit that I bought initially. The first one was bought on October 19th at Best Buy. I returned it the same day, on the 22nd, I mean. Then I had to go to another store to buy another one because they didn't have any more in stock at the store that's closest to me. So I bought that. You can see it on there, October 22nd. I bought it and returned it the same day. October 24th is when I picked up the last one. And that's the one that you see right here. If you're not familiar with this 9.1, the reason that I wanted this unit is because it had detachable satellite speakers. They're wireless, and you truly don't need any wires. There's no power or anything. They're battery, rechargeable battery, and they hook into the end of the unit like this. Just got a strong magnet, and then when the unit's off, it charges. So this is the third one I had. We're now towards the end of June. I'm going to say this is like June 23rd or 22nd. It died. So I had it maybe 15 months, 16 months, somewhere around there. And you can see the price of it. What did I pay for that? $1,064. So you can see something that lasts for 16 months that you pay $1,000 for and died. Initially, the problem with it was the first one I got,
it automatically updates the firmware. When you turn it on, you enable Wi-Fi on it, it updates the firmware. When it updated the firmware, it bricked the right side speaker. Right side speaker wouldn't work at all. Then I brought that one back. When I got the second one, got it home, did the firmware upgrade. It didn't brick the right side speaker, but the right side speaker wouldn't charge connected to the unit. You could charge it by USB, but it wouldn't charge connected to the main soundbar. So I brought that one back. So this one I have here, when I got home I called JBL and I said, this is what happened to the other two. And the guy said, well, don't install the firmware. So I didn't install the firmware. It's been running fine. I mean, it sounds great, especially when you detach the speakers and you have them behind you. It sounds great. Then last week, I had recharged these things overnight because, again, this unit has to be off for it to recharge. It won't charge if it's on. So I got up the next morning, and they used to have a feature on the remote that if you held the mute button down for, I think it was 5 or 6 seconds, and then hit the Atmos button, it would flash across right here. There's an LCD readout on here. And it would flash like right 80, R80, L80 to tell you that there's 80% charge in the battery. So I hadn't used it at all. I let it charge, and I checked it during the day, and it was like one side was like 90, the other side was like 80. I'm like, well, why is that doing that now? Because I haven't detached these to use them. So I called JBL, and this is before I did the firmware upgrade, and I says, look, this is what happened. So JBL tells me that they did rewrite the firmware. There's a new version of firmware out. It's safe. Go install it. So I installed it, and it seemed to be working fine. It was charging. Now, if you don't do the firmware, you can't get like Google Chromecast, and there's a couple other things like Apple that I don't have anyway. But, without doing the firmware upgrade, you don't get a lot of the broadcast features like Chromecast, and you can't sync this up with a phone to play music over it and stuff like that. So you kind of lose a lot of the functionality of this with not doing the firmware upgrade. And for $1,000, I want everything to work on it. So when I called them, they said, go ahead and do the firmware upgrade. So I did it. Everything seemed fine. And I said, well, initially I called them was because of the things weren't charging. And they said, well, that function on the remote of holding down the mute button and the Atmos was not supposed to be for consumers. That was supposed to be for the test when it came out of the factory. I said, well, what difference does it make? Why, if it's accurate at the factory, why wouldn't it be accurate at my house? So come to find out, that firmware upgrade took that function away. So you could no longer check the status of of each left and right speaker, the battery status. So you had no way of knowing unless it flashed across the LCD that the battery was low. So they took that functionality away. So actually a couple days ago, I'm watching TV, all of a sudden the thing just dies. Just dies right out. Nothing, couldn't get it going. Power button didn't work, nothing worked on it. So I called JBL and told them about it. And they said, we'll do a hard reset on it, hold the power button down for 30 seconds. Nothing, still nothing, it's dead. So you can't really even use the subwoofer as far as I know. I have 2 other JBL units, which never had a problem with, but you can't link those to those other units as far as I know. I haven't found a way unless I call JBL. Anyway, I talked to their tech support, and the guy was, he goes, how about if I give you a discount to buy another one? I said, you think I'm going to fucking spend another $1,000 on this thing that's only going to last a year and a half? I said, I can go buy a Bose one for, almost the same money. I know it's going to last 10 years. So he said he was going to see what he could do. This was 2 days ago. Never called me back. I don't expect to get a call back from him. So stay away from this unit. This JBL 9.1. It's absolute garbage. And then they had the nerve to send me an email saying it's highly unlikely that 2 units had the same problem. I'm like, why is that unlikely? And I've read on Reddit that other people have had that same problem of it bricking the right speaker. So it wasn't just me, and it wasn't just anything that I did. It's just the unit itself. You'd think for $1,000 they'd have better quality control in these things, especially when they tell you, you're going to lose functionality by not installing the firmware on this. So anyway, I thought I'd give you my opinion on this thing. When it works fine. It sounds good when it works. But again, $1,000, almost $1,100 to have something last 15 months is not worth it for me. I'd rather go out and buy, a 5.1 JBL and you spend $400 or $500 on one, or even not even a JBL, just a Bose. So I doubt that I'll be buying another JBL. Just the way that it's, of course, it's out of warranty. You can't bring it back to Best Buy, so now you're stuck with a piece of junk that you paid over $1,000 for. So, all right, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave me some comments. Have you ever tried this soundbar? What kind of soundbar do you have? You guys listen to? Leave me a comment on what you recommend, because I'm gonna be buying another soundbar pretty soon. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.